Good afternoon. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for the 3D. Great D. The Drew Dickinson Diatribe, to be exact, where the main topic of discussion is, of course, my beloved Manchester United. And the show drops each and every Friday right here on the SDH network. All right. So earlier this week, Wednesday, United played their last home game of the season. But before we get into that matchup, it's very important to note Rafael Varane, Anthony Martial, two 100% outgoing players at the end of the season. Martial, very long tenure at the club, 9, almost 10 years at Old Trafford. Varane, 3, almost 4 years at Old Trafford. They both said their farewells to the fans inside the stadium earlier this week. You know, it's absolutely crazy and mind-boggling to me that Rafael Varane is going before Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. But one thing for sure is that with Varane leaving just on his own, it's going to clear up about 16 million pounds in yearly wages. Oh gosh, what a professional, what a player. His partnership with Lisandro Martinez last season in particular is just something we've not seen since Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand, just two top center backs. Could not imagine what it would be like if Varane was 5, even 3 years younger at this stage. And with Martinez getting healthy again, I really hope that Lisandro stays healthy. But anyways, Varane, he missed 13 games this season. Father Time, unfortunately for Rafa, is undefeated. And as far as to add to the Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, I truly hope that they are able to pair up one last 90 minutes for the FA Cup against Manchester City at Wembley next weekend. But we'll get going here. Keep going. And with Anthony Martial, geez, with Martial, let's just say this, and it's just this simple: the expectations were never met. For me personally, and I think a lot of other people, mostly every United fan who has seen him play, you remember one thing, and that's the debut goal against Liverpool. And to me, of course, another standout moment wasn't even in the regular season. It was in preseason against Madrid down there on the end line where he dribbled about 4 people, crossed it over, and I believe it was Lingard who finished it off. But, with Martial, he's either sulking because he wasn't playing down the middle or he's injured. It's simple as that. Him leaving also clears massive wages off the wage book. With Martial, it's about $250 a week. So, let's just put it this way too. It's insane amount of money for a guy who literally never plays. Now, let's get back to business here. Wednesday, Newcastle came to Old Trafford, with as much to fight for as United. Newcastle on 57 points, 7th place. United were on 54 points in 8th place. European soccer still alive for both clubs. Great news for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes returned to the starting lineup, previously away due to injury. Great news for the squad and also for Erik ten Hag. Speaking of Ten Hag, he played Bruno at the false 9, which I just love to see. Garnacho was on the left and Ahmad earning his start on the right, with Kobe Mainoo, Scott McTominay, and Soifran Amrabat playing the midfield 3. And just wow, they all clicked together. The 3 midfield players, Bruno with the false 9, and the 2 wide players, Ahmad and Garnacho. First 15 minutes, like usual, opening whistle, boom. They go right for it. Just attack. One thing on their mind is to score goals. Unfortunate, just so much mishmash of starters and people trying to play together. Haven't been able to form quite the camaraderie yet, so finishing hasn't been United's strong suit. But like I said, from the opening whistle, they just click so well. And, listen, Soifran Amrabat, wow, what a freaking performance. He played his best position, the defensive midfield spot, the number 6, anchoring the midfield, and he just had himself a day. I don't know if you remember, how can you not, that chase down, goal-saving defensive play, just absolute top-notch. I personally, I hope United are tempted and they trigger that um $21 million clause to make his move here permanent. He could be a great option off the bench or a starter when the players need some rest. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Another whose season was just decimated with injuries. Ten Hag had to have him from Fiorentina for $10 million for the transfer fee, and either when he was injured or when he was healthy, Eric just wouldn't play him. So you know, don't know what the cause for that is. But look, I tell you one thing. I'm getting way too excited about the future of none other than number 37, Kobe Mainu. I mean, he is so damn cool, calm, collected. The build-up and the execution of his goal was absolutely stupendous. It's Ten Hag ball. Haven't seen it in a while, but you got some health coming back, not just on the starting 11, but on the bench as well. I mean, on the bench you had Rashford, Anthony, Hoyland, just Lissandro Martinez, Willie Camboala. It was great to see. One thing you don't want to do though is never rely on an 18-year-old. But one thing is for sure, at this point in the stage of his career and for Manchester United, it's just laughable to consider him anything but untouchable. Alejandro Garnacho, well, again, oh God, massive threat going forward. The kid has no fear. He gets the ball and just goes straight to goal. Again, I'll go back to with what I said the last couple of weeks. He's got a few things to work on, but it's clear that his ceiling is just as high as Kobe Mainu. 32-year-old Casemiro, 35 Johnny Evans pairing up as the two center backs. Not a bad partnership, but, the old legs, they just couldn't last forever. Finally, we see the return. Lecce, the butcher of Amsterdam, Lissandro Martinez, making his way back onto the field. So excited about that. He's going to get some minutes here in the next couple of games, ease his way back into the final against City at Wembley next weekend, next Saturday, I believe. Højlund off the bench for I can't believe I'm saying this, his 15th goal in all competitions this season. It was like his first play of the game. He gets in, boom, finishes it off. Great to see him get back on the score sheet. But back to those 15 goals, he started off, very, very poor in the Premier League. 7 in a row after that. And then he earlier in the season, he couldn't stop scoring goals in Champions League. I'll end the Tottenham. I'll end the Newcastle discussion on this. United played one of their best games that I've seen them play all season. Left with all 3 points. Now tied for 7th with Newcastle. Unfortunately for United, Newcastle and Chelsea still have a dramatically massive advantage in the goal differential. So this weekend, Championship Sunday, it's for all the marbles, if you will, baby. 7th place gets the Europa Conference League, but United can win the FA Cup and automatically qualify for the Europa League. I know it's not sexy, but hey, baby, it's Europe. So Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, United will go to battle against Brighton Hove Albion at the Amex. So it will be an away game to end the season for United. Interesting little tidbits here regarding these two teams, and this is fascinating to me. Brighton, they've won each of their last 4 Premier League games against Manchester United. They are the last side to beat the Red Devils in 5 consecutive league games, and that was previous of Norwich City between 1988 and 1990. So the last side to beat Manchester United in 5 league games was Norwich City. If Brighton do it Saturday, if Brighton do it Sunday, they'll be the first team to do it since 1988, 1990. And unfortunately for United, I don't want to talk it into existence, but we've seen a lot of records being broken. There are a lot of things that have never happened before for Manchester United in the last 18 months. Here's another little tidbit. Manchester United have lost 4 of their 6 Premier League away games against Brighton. That's 67%, and that's their highest loss rate away against any side in the Premier League. So Brighton head coach Roberto De Zerbi, fantastic. We all know, kind of on a slum here on the latter part of this season, which is kind of taking him out of the quote unquote rumored to be up in contention for the Manchester United job if Ten Hag does leave. But De Zerbi, we know he'll have his squad ready to burst that United bubble. He is going to be relying on some old legs, he being De Zerbi, relying on those old legs and Danny Welbeck. The playmaking of Pascal Grob, who just got named to the German national team for the upcoming Euros. Last time out, back in September, I feel like I've said that the last 3 weeks, Brighton absolutely destroyed Manchester United at Old Trafford. The final score was 3-1. So you know the confidence for the home team in Brighton Hove Albion will be absolutely oozing. Now, for the visitors, it's a gotta have all the 3 points type of game for Manchester United. Got to attack and got to finish those created chances. And now with Bruno back, those chances are going to be created even more. The 2 games prior to the Newcastle game was just so obvious about him being missing, no creativity in the middle of the field. And with Bruno playing a little bit higher on that false 9, which I hope Eric stays with, it's just fantastic for that position for him to be at. So with that being said, I hope for the exact same lineup. So, same subs even. Bruno at the false 9, Garnacho, Ahmad on the wing. But it is also worth noting Rashford came in off the bench, immediately made a great defensive play that set up the Højlund goal. So look for Marcus to get more minutes. Eric could slow play him, not start him, which I'm expecting, and wait for that FA Cup final to where you can unleash Marcus. Maybe have Garnacho's young legs off the bench for that game. McTominay, Mainu, Amrabat played incredible together. Keep that unit. And if there is any sort of change that may or may not take place, I would expect it to be at the center back position. But you could also see Casemiro and Evans stay in the ballgame to kind of, like I said with Rashford coming back from injury, kind of ease Lisandro Martinez and Kambwala back into things. We heard from Ten Hag. He said there is a chance that Maguire will be ready for the FA Cup. Lindelof and Varane back on the pitch as well. Like I said before earlier in the show, if I had my way, I'd love to see Varane and Lisandro Martinez paired up for the final. Keep them out of the Brighton game. Well, not Lisandro. Ease his way back in. Varane, he's a pro. He's been playing for forever. He can come back in like he's been doing at the drop of a dime. Diego Dallo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, as usual, will be the 2 wingbacks. Dallo having, a fantastic year. He's still putting on a great clinic. Hope he utilizes those overlapping runs because United are such a better team with Dallo going forward and things clicking on all cylinders on the wing for him, for whoever his partner may be, whether it's Garnacho, might be Ahmad, or hey, Rashford may go over, who knows? But as we say each and every week, no Premier League game is a gimme, especially on the road. So I do feel different. I for the first time in a while, I feel excited. I think United will carry that Wednesday momentum into Sunday. We'll have Andre Onana back in goal, of course, and just love him. He's, I think he's one of the first United goalkeepers, if not ever, but in a long time, to have conceded 200 shots against him. And he's got 8 clean sheets still. We know about Onana had his rough patches in the earlier part of the season, but in the calendar year of 2024, Andre Onana has been one of the best goalkeepers, if not in the Premier League, in the entire world. And with Martinez coming back, look to see, him kind of diminish some of those long balls out of his repertoire, if you will. And, like I said, I would love to see United continue that momentum from Wednesday into Sunday. United are going to go on and defeat Brighton Hove Albion away 2-0. Alejandro Garnacho gets back on the scoreboard after a long dry spell And Bruno, I think he's going to get back on the score sheet as well. 2-0. On the other side of the country, Newcastle and Brentford going at the same time, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that score line. Real quick, before I get out of here, I want to elaborate a little bit more, just a tiny bit more, on the possible / definite outgoings this summer, just to give you guys some retrospect and a little bit of, well, how can I say this, an idea of what is / could happen. Here's some definites out of contract next month. Rafael Varane, Anthony Martial, Soifran Amrabat, Johnny Evans, Tom Eaton, all out of contract. And I've said before, we know for a fact Varane and Martial will be leaving. And some others that are quote unquote, which I think are just about certain to leave. Christian Eriksen, not part of the project anymore. Casemiro, he aged about 4 years over the summer. Jadon Sancho, good riddance. Donny van de Beek, unfortunately for Donny, just never worked out here at Manchester United. Like Ten Hag said, when he came in, he either had to play behind Bruno or he was injured. Hannibal Mejbri, I expect him to go. And it hasn't been said, no Ineos updates on the situation. But if a good number does come in, which I do expect it to, Mason Greenwood is going to be gone as well. Some more players to note that could, quote unquote, also leave. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Tyrell Malacia, and Facundo Pellistri could also leave. That's 16, definite / potential outgoings. Ineos are going to have a lot of business to conduct this summer. It's crazy to think that 16 players are going to get signed. It's crazy to think more than 5 players can be signed this summer during the transfer window. So a lot of those players named just above that I just said, they will be staying. So don't think that all the players that I just said will be going, because it's going to be impossible to replace them all. But rest assured, half will be gone by this time next year. But as usual, I will keep you all updated as those things happen. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Ineos start immediately following the FA Cup, win or lose. Okay, so that's going to be a wrap for me this week. I hope everyone enjoys Championship Sunday. Who's going to win the league? Will it be Arsenal? Will City win 4 in a row? I like to predict things around here. I predict City will win the 4th. I hope City win the 4th. And Arsenal bottlers once again. All right, folks. Y'all have a good weekend, and I will speak to yous next week. Drewski out. Great dick.